Very good afternoon, good morning, welcome back. Good to be joining you after my holiday. And good morning, Carolyn, Adair. Hope you're both well. Just make sure that this is all set up. If you could just message me to let me know that the chat's working. I can see it's updated since the last week. So I just want, yes, hello, Carolyn. That's great. That's all working okay. Yes, welcome, Carolyn. Hope you're doing well. Hope last week was okay. Yeah, good to be back. And looking forward to this week. Got a few events, and we've got the non-farm payrolls, which has impacted markets today. So silver's been continue to surge higher, which has been great, and gold. So
just to acknowledge, the French Assembly has opened for debate ahead of that PM Bayrou confidence vote. Once again, for those who wish to get briefed, please have a look at the newsfeed. There is a plan the desk has prepared up there. In terms of the timings, we're not really expecting anything material to hit before 1 p.m. Eastern, which is 6 p.m. here in the UK.
Yeah, no, it's not a lot going on really. I'm thinking next year, August was such a funny month. You can see there's some wisdom in not actually being involved. But I'm expecting things to pick up now in September with folks back at their desks. So hopefully we get some more opportunities. Folks, without further ado, let's jump into things. So the market is moving on the back of the non-farm payroll print from Friday. Look, another weak print, 22,000 versus the 75,000 that was expected, towards the low end of expectations. Yes, the prior is revised up, but only fractionally higher. If you look at the other factors, unemployment rate stayed relatively tame within the expectations for the Federal Reserve, and the average earnings within expectations. But again, it's the hey Najem, good to see you. Hey Ryan, good to see you. Welcome both. Just getting stuck into it. Just refreshing that we're in the afterglow of that weak non-farm payrolls print from Friday. I don't know if you guys managed to catch it, Najem or Ryan, or whether you had a week off, Ryan. The moves are relatively large, two-way thing. Swing long and gold, yeah, very nice, Najem. Oh, nice, Ryan. Did you go long and short, or just long or short? Yeah, makes sense. Just long. Okay, nice. I just see the nice little spike up and then a drop lower later on in the session. So bottom line is we had another weak print, and you can see here that the jobs market continues to weaken. Now, markets took a look at that, and once the sort of the thinking had settled, you can see short-term interest rate markets. What they're seeing now is 25 basis point cut in September, plus the outside chance of a 50 basis point cut. So it's definitely a dovish shift, and that's meant that short-term interest rate markets now see 3 interest rate cuts this year. So that's weakened the dollar on the event, which is exactly what you'd expect. And you can see here, here's Friday's candle, dollar weakening, lifted Aussie, Euro, Pound, New Zealand, lifted all the dollar pairs. And you can see the euro dollar is trying to lift above this important trend line here. It's got a false break on Friday, and it's giving it another go now. So really interesting, important level that's being tested. Now, the slight problem with the euro is we've got a French confidence vote for the PM that is expected to lose. So that's limiting some of the upside in the euro, but that's all priced in. He has a minority in a coalition government, so he's expected to lose the confidence vote. And we had the resignation of Japan's PM Ishida. Now this is a little trickier because before I left, there was a clear dollar yen sell opportunity, which was here off this 149 level, right? 50% sort of retracement of this long tail pin bar, and markets are expecting normalization of Japanese monetary policy. So shorting dollar yen made sense. Now, would have got an opportunity potentially last week, but some analysts are saying that this could slow down the normalization of monetary policy in Japan. So typically with yields falling, as sharply as they have been, right, you would typically expect the dollar yen to be following suit, but it isn't quite following suit as much as you expect. So just be aware that dollar yen could just drop off a cliff, but it's not worth shorting because of the uncertainty about the Japan's PM Ishida's resignation and what implication that's going to have for his replacement. So that's what's sort of impacting some of the dollar weakness. So basically, to sum it all up, what we're seeing is significant dollar weakness on another NFP print, but the euro and the yen are just sort of being, their gains are kind of being limited a little bit by the negative euro news and the negative Japanese news. I don't expect either of those two narratives to really impact much, and I would say euro dollar upside still makes sense. And intraday opportunities, euro dollar could definitely still be considered, right? There would be no issue there at all that I can see. The only issue is if that confidence vote has a surprise outcome. That's the only thing to be aware of. And you can see here, you got another break of this potential trend line here. On balance volume pushing higher. So a long from that region wouldn't be unreasonable. Stops just underneath the daily pivot point. That wouldn't be unreasonable. Now, the other thing that's just sort of really notable is the move lower we've seen in yields. Now, this is a little chart to always keep an eye on. Is when you've got the real yields, and I've got tips as a proxy for real yields. When you've got real yields and the dollar moving lower, that's a rocket fuel for gold. And that's what you see when you see real yields and the dollar moving lower, gold up. Real yields, dollar. What do we got? We've got real yields and the dollar moving lower, gold up. So we've got some Bureau of Labour Statistics economic NFP revisions tomorrow at 3 o'clock. We'll look at that nearer the time. We've also got PPI and CPI print out of the US. So that's going to likely impact yields on the dollar. But for now, you can just see, look, markets continuing to move lower, yields on the dollar, and that's just further supporting gold. So gold upside, right, continues to make sense. So I've got my silver longs, which are just all the positions are in profit now. So I'm just leaving that and seeing how far we can run. Remember, the big technical picture on this was a Bollinger Band breakout, holding above the first standard deviation Bollinger Band, and then typically you leave it for about 12 weeks. So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, can go up to 16 weeks. So I'm looking at the all-time highs around that 48.50 region. I don't see any reason why we can't get there, not with gold breaking out the way it is. Worth having a look at the gold-silver ratio as well now. Gold broke out that large symmetrical triangle pattern. We were there last week when it did, and it's continued to hold. Again, when you've got that breaking above that level, holding the level, very nice. Let's just have a look at gold price, gold-silver ratio. That's at 87. So it's pulled back from that sort of very high level 100. I just wanted to see what was going on there, but that's just been, whenever you see that gold-silver ratio over 100, that can really boost silver, and that's exactly what we saw here with silver prices. As soon as we had that dip, that was the time to buy in, and now looking up at all-time highs around that sort of $48-50 region. I might have a video, Najam. I'll check when I've finished. Let me just check quickly. I might have a video I can share with you. Hang on, just having a quick look. I've got one here. I'll share it to you when I go and make a cup of tea. Yeah. I'll do a blue pizza. Here's one I made earlier. So, okay. So that's really what's going on. So for today, there's not a lot of economic data to be moving on. If you look at the calendar, it's light, not much going on. And if you just take a look at the Fed speakers, there's no one really expected to speak. Just having a look on the list. So quiet trade. So really still kind of in that afterglow of Friday's NFP. Looking across markets, Europe was sort of up early and has pared back a little bit. Just get rid of that. Got volatility pushing lower, and equity markets in the US are broadly supported. The ES is sort of flirting up these highs, not really committing to new levels, but we've got big highs above, so big resistance. Bonds are moving low on the expectations of Fed interest rate cuts. Copper broke out of that little structure down here, so I'm keeping my copper longs, just maintaining those. You can see that nice little breakout of that little structure there. OPEC did increase production cuts, but not as much as markets were expecting. Production increases rather. So they increased it to 137,000 barrels per day in October. That's what they're due to increase production by, but that's lower than previous accounts, and there's potential sanctions by the EU on Russia, new sanctions on energy companies and banks. So that's just supporting oil markets in early trade. Again, mixed drivers for the oil markets, and Dixie continuing to track lower in line with the weak NFP. So that's where we're at. In terms of the ES, on the weekly chart, we're just moving up into this really strong weekly area. And as it stands, we're just sort of sat in it. We're not going anywhere, we're just on top of that value area. So breakout and push on, great, or collapse below and look to sell. That's the best thing to look for in the weekly profile. And you can see here that we've got these European highs that we're just sort of heading towards, but we haven't really got any clear direction yet, right? Really on the 15, we'll be looking for some clear direction, either getting underneath these buyers and making our way down to the 6490, or if we can clear out these buyers, but then as soon as we clear out the sellers above.
Just making you aware, we are getting commentary from the French PM Beirut. Says if we do not address debt, we will no longer be able to borrow at all.
If you can break above those highs, you can get a pullback and look for a move up to the 6520. So we just have to see where we get at the open. You can see the value area high from the Globex open is just up at those European highs. So we need to go, so we either want to see through, right, and enter on that pullback there, and then see if we can start making a move up to that region. Or the other sort of thing to look at is if we go underneath this level here, so up and away, or down and hit the pivot point and go back lower. So that's what I'm looking for. The Globex open, the inventory is just positive, but it's only just. So you've got about 700, 600 contracts long. So it's not, there's not a lot going on. And then we'll see what inventory brings us when we get to the session. What I'm kind of expecting is maybe like a false break at that level there, and then a sell-off. So I'll be looking carefully underneath these buyers here, look attractive for shorts, or up above those sellers there, look attractive for long. So it's either push up, back and on, or push down, back and through. So looking to join the move. That's what I'll look for. So testing the resolve of those sellers now. More sellers trying to come in, but do they get trapped? That's the question. Here they come, the sellers.
Just for the emerging Europe watchers, note the MBP's Yancik says it is reasonable to consider another rate cut in the near future, speaking via PAP.
Right, if I get those sellers trapped, I'll go for a long here. Just a quick one. I'll get out quickly if it's wrong, but I'm going to go for it if I get those sellers trapped here. Okay, got the 5 minute close. Okay, so happy to buy in on a little dip here. Let's check what the NQ is. Yeah. Okay, so just got in on that little dip. But if those, hang on, I need those buyers to trap those sellers. If they don't, I'll be out for sure. Yeah, they've trapped them, so that's fine. Right, so buyers have come in, they've trapped sellers underneath that level. So that's acceptable. Cumulative delta is positive, got that absorption building. essentially had a false break of this level. Those sellers getting trapped. So I'm happy just to give this some space.
Just be aware, some commentary from Brazil's Lula mentioned at the BRICS meeting, just crossing at the moment. During the BRICS meetings, he said trade and financial integration between countries offers a safe option for mitigating the effects of protectionism.
Demos Najam trying to get a build up to past accounts. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, so another retest of that level. Point of control is now here. Delta is positive. So look at the 15. 15, we've had those sellers sort of trap those buyers up here. We've had a move lower. The 5 minute, the buyers have trapped those sellers. So let's see where we go. Okay, 15-minute close coming up. "44 seconds. Tricky, keeping a careful eye on this close here. Whether we get underneath those buyers, that would be, yeah, that's looking negative. Let's see, got 6 seconds left. Do we have buyers pop in? No. Okay, so we've got more buyers trapped there, unfortunately. So I don't like that move we've seen there. So I'm going to be pulling out of that. Yeah. Just with those buyers getting, yeah, it's just this range, still in this little range.